Yep.
Dark part. There we go. In the void.
You're in the void. In the void. All right. So we got quite a bit of a show for us today. I can actually lead all these guys.
Yeah. Bloop. All right.
All right.
Let's do it.
This should still be the same.
Should be.
Just to make sure.
Yeah.
USB 2. Play back on default. Close. Okay. 3, 2.
Go for it.
And welcome back to another episode of the Media Boat Podcast, your weekly show for the latest news in movies, TV, music, and video games. Not necessarily in that order. My name's Mike. His name is Matt.
My name's Matt. His name is Mike. Today is April the 9th, 2022. We are back in person after another week of remote recording. We are ready to give you a hot podcast right off the grill. So get your bib on, get your fork and knife, because it's time to dig in.
Yep, get your peanuts and or Cracker Jacks, because it is baseball season, and we'll be talking a lot of baseball stuff.
Take me out to the ball game
later. This is episode 326.
Yes.
And let's get started, shall we?
Let's get rolling.
Yeah, because we've got quite a bit of thoughts for everybody, and a little bit of everything, I think.
I think so.
So let's get started with music, and we always start music with the Billboard, and we start the Billboard with the Hot 100. Staying Hot, Heat Waves by Glass Animals.
Yes.
Coming at 2, Stay by the Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber. Coming at 3, Big Energy by Lotto. At 4, Super Gremlins. Just one.
Gremlin.
Just Super Gremlin by Kodak Black. And coming in at number 5, breaking into the top 5, Enemy by Imagine Dragons and JID.
Yeah, JID. I'm not sure. I hate to say it, but this is really catchy. And when I hear it on the radio, like hours later, I'll catch myself being like, Enemy. And I'm like, no, it's happening again.
Wait, are you saying Imagine Dragons wrote another hit?
No, yeah. Like that's inarguable at this point. It's on the top 5, but like, I'm just annoyed because there's not. Oh, okay. Nope. Magazine just took a dive.
No, that's the Angels.
The Angels took a dive.
The Angels, last year's Angels calendar is like, okay.
It knew it was done. It knew it was done. Its service is over.
Yep.
But yeah, no. Imagine Dragons, they can write catchy songs. Do I want to listen to them ever? No, not really. But if I do listen to them, will they stick in my head? Absolutely yes. So, yeah, not surprised to see it here.
Not surprised it's in the top 5.
No.
As for your Billboard 200, your albums chart, coming in at number 1, Mainstream Sellout by Machine Gun Kelly.
I mean, I'm not super surprised that he has another number 1 record here, but man, come on.
Hey, it's all those concert sales.
Guess so.
At 2, 7220 or 7220 by Lil Durk. Staying at number 3 is Encanto, the soundtrack by various artists.
Yeah.
Also staying at number 4, Dangerous, the double album by Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, because,
And back in the top 5, Sour by Olivia Rodrigo.
Grammy bump?
Maybe
a little bit.
We'll
see the real Grammy bump next week, because
yes.
Next week will be the first time we see the post-show hit.
Right.
Yeah.
If you didn't like any of those albums, we have new releases.
A couple this week. Not a big week.
Just a pair, including Psychic Jailbreak by Cancer Bats. Yes, that is the name of an album and a band.
Believe it or not.
And Watch My Moves, in parentheses, by Kurt Vile.
I like that because it implies that Kurt's like going up to you and being like, watch my moves.
Just secretly whispering.
And he does a weird ass dance. So
it's like the Prince symbol thing where it's just him dancing, but you can't just say dance on the album, so it says like watch my moves.
Could just say dance.
Anyways, if you were a big music fan, last Sunday was your Oscar night, pun intended, because it was the Grammys.
Yeah, it was.
And
for better and for worse.
For better and for worse, as Silk Sonic was the biggest winner of Grammy night.
A band literally made, a band made of 2 Grammy winners, literally built to win Grammys, who debuted their debut single and first debut at the Grammys last year. What do you know? They won Grammys.
Well, they took all 4 awards that they were nominated for, which were Best R&B Song, Best R&B Performance, Song of the Year, and Record of the Year.
Yeah, the big prize at the end of the night was theirs.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're built in a test tube to win Grammys. Not surprising that they did the thing, but just a little disappointing. Also, seeing Bruno Mars light up a cigarette on the Grammy stage. Yeah, I get it's Vegas. It's probably allowed there. But still, I was just like, come on, guys. It is not 1978. As much as you guys wish it was 1978 by the sound of your music and the look of your clothes and your whole vibe, it is 2022. I don't know. I don't know what about Silk Sonic really bugs me. But that whole night, every time I saw them, I was like, oh.
It's all the gold, isn't it?
I don't know. It's just... I don't know. It seems tone deaf.
It's wearing the sunglasses inside, isn't it?
I just don't like them. Anyway.
Well, arguably, the biggest surprise of the night was Album of the Year, which went to the heavily nominated Jon Batiste.
It should be John. I don't know.
I know it's John.
Job.
Jon Batiste.
John.
Yes. Jon Batiste.
Yes.
Who I had a great conversation with someone at work of, who is that person? I didn't know who that person was. Why did they win?
Yeah, it's a good question.
And I had to explain to them, well, they're the band leader for Stephen Colbert for Late Night, so who's been around. He's been doing that for the past 7 years. Jon Batiste also did the Soul soundtrack. Yeah. He's done a lot of soul albums, a lot of R&B, hip-hop, jazz albums.
You could call him multi-hyphenate genre-wise because he works in a lot of different genres. I mean, even if you look at his Grammy nominations, they run the gamut.
Yes.
He was up for Jazz Awards, R&B Awards, and somehow Roots Music Awards and Folk Awards. I mean, he just, I guess he just finds a way to make music that can be categorized in all sorts of different ways.
Right, and visual mediums as well, and as I mentioned with soul, motion picture soundtracks.
So so that's why I say arguably, is because I feel like some people are like, well, he had the most nominations, of course he won. But it seems like to insiders, this was a surprise because it seemed like the momentum was going towards one of some of the other options here, that he did not have the momentum going into this.
I'm going to bet that if Silk Sonic was somehow nominated, they would have won.
Their record, I don't believe, was up for Album of the Year.
No, it was not.
If it was, I'm sure that they would have won. You're right. But yeah, I think that, this was obviously, we here at the Media Boat Podcast think Sour was robbed. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, but if Sour would have won, that would have been 5 years in a row where Basic White Girl wins.
I mean, White's a little... I mean, I think Olivia has a little something else in her blood. I don't know if she's what you would call white. But yeah.
But following Billie Eilish and Casey Musgraves.
Yeah. Still. She deserved it. I mean, we'll get to Olivia right now.
Yeah, because while she didn't take home Album of the Year, she did win for Best New Artist.
Yes. Pick up the phone on that one. We called that one. It's the only one we did call.
Yeah, the only one we did call, because otherwise she was snubbed for Sour. Except for a pre-show nod for the best solo pop performance.
Real quick, this and the next bit are about the pre-show. I just want to mention, I watched a big chunk of it this year for the first time.
Okay.
Pretty cool. It's very rapid fire. They have so many that they have to keep giving these awards out.
Which we covered last week, that there's just so many awards that the Grammys give out.
And a couple of fun parts about it is that they'll have a rotating presenter thing happening. And Best New Artist nominee Jimmy Allen was up there for a while, and I didn't realize how funny that guy is. He had put on a good show, doing the announcements for those awards. Every time somebody wasn't there, he would be like, "Yeah, I'm going to accept this on my behalf. By the way, I have 5 of these now." Good hands was out, and he kept going. The bit didn't stop. He kept doing it. It's I guess I have 6. My favorite one was at one point, I forget who won, but he was like. Well, I mean, I was looking for an excuse to go to Nashville, so I'll drop this off at her house or something like that. Oh, it was Carrie Underwood, I think.
Carrie
And I was like, that's so funny. This guy's a riot. I like this guy.
Yeah, well, we saw him in concert, like,
Yeah.
unexpectedly.
So, yeah, the pre-show was
And
fun.
we liked him.
Yeah, Jimmy Allen seems like a nice dude.
Yeah.
I like him.
He was also in Dancing with the Stars
Hey,
last season,
good for him.
which we'll talk about Dancing with the Stars later.
But anyways, the pre-show is fun. It's long and it's a slog, but you do also get to see performances you would never see on the show, like some deep category, like genre stuff that they would never allow on the actual primetime. It's a really good thing. And LeVar Burton was kind of the host of the whole thing. And he had a good time too. So yeah, a couple of Reading Rainbow shout outs there in the acceptance speeches, which I appreciated.
Is this the gig that he got because he couldn't get Jeopardy?
Maybe, yeah. They were like, here, you can host this. Yeah, so just for next year, when next year comes around, watch the pre-show. They'll stream it on YouTube again. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Is it only on YouTube or was it on E? Because E was the red carpet
website. No, it's not. You're thinking of the red carpet. They don't broadcast on television.
Okay.
Which means they also can get away with things that they can't on primetime. So they'll allow people to say stuff. When Jack Antonoff accepted his award for producer of the year non-classical, he dropped several curses.
Oh, we'll talk about some streaming stuff a little bit later.
And then also when they showed the Halsey cover art for alternative album, it was not censored. So it's like stuff they can't do.
Full on baby on nipple?
Yeah, you can just see it. So yeah, they can do things on stream that they can't do in primetime. So it's a good time. Watch it next year.
Yep.
It's fun. Anyway.
Well, anyways, also in the pre-show.
Yeah. Some not so great
stuff. Some not so great stuff, as the previously canceled are now uncanceled because they won awards.
Yeah. Right. That's how it works, right?
Yeah. So Louis C.K. and Kanye West both officially won Grammys this year.
Louis C.K. for the spoken word category or comedy album category, and then also Kanye West won 2 in the rap categories. One for Jail, which also means that Lil Baby and Marilyn Manson are now Grammy winners. And
weren't they already? I think Marilyn Manson might have been,
but I don't know about Lil Baby. And the other one, one of the other singles, Hurricane, with The Weeknd. So The Weeknd also won a Grammy, even though he did not submit his own material this year.
Yes.
So there you go.
So we'll talk about The Weeknd a little bit later.
We will.
Yep. As for the performances, they were pretty strong overall. Highlights included BTS pulling off a heist.
Yeah, that was fun.
Billie Eilish rocking out in the rain.
That was probably my personal favorite in the night.
Olivia Rodrigo getting her driver's license. Yeah. And the brothers Osborne closing the show.
It was fun. Yeah. I'm not super familiar with Brothers Osborne, but their performance was a whole lot of fun. Even though it was kind of anticlimactic, because after the end of the night.
Right.
So people were leaving and they were just playing. But the people who stayed were having a great time. It was like a little hoedown happening.
Yeah, so Brother Osborne, their first single was Not My Fault. Dun, dun, dun. But most of their songs are not that Deep Voice album song.
Yeah.
So they played a song off their Skeleton album.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine.
It
was fun.
Yeah. I liked it better than I thought it was going to.
I'm waiting for their next album.
Yeah.
Because their next album's it's one of those other albums, or the good ones. Anyways, not as thrilling.
Yeah.
Or the statuesque Carrie Underwood.
Oh my God, that performance was so boring.
Yes. So halfway through the performance, I realized that she was just standing still, and there's this pole behind her. I'm like, she's going up. She's going up. Why hasn't she gone up yet? And Doctor was like, this is why I don't like her, because she's still performance. I'm like, yeah, but she's probably tethered to something. She literally can't move.
Yeah.
And then literally at the last 30 seconds, they decided to rise her up.
Early, you know what? I've been thinking about Carrie Underwood since this performance. I was listening to a 2000s country playlist at work on Monday, because this is the kind of thing you do when you have the ability to listen to music all day. And I had that on, and Before He Cheats came on, I was like, man, Carrie used to be fun.
Yeah.
What happened to fun Carrie? I feel like all the music she puts out now is just so boring.
Well, she put out the gospel Christmas album.
Yeah, and I'm like, I get it. But she was just so boring here. And it was just another reminder of
it's not boring. It's that category that we always love to hate. Mom music.
It is. It's so boring now. And I'm like, it's just disappointing. I don't know.
It's mom music.
She had so much potential. Anyway.
Anyways, other performance including the blindingly bright Jon Batiste.
Yeah, I didn't get what he was going for there. I like the bit where he came into the audience and danced on
Yes.
Billie Eilish's table, but like
It was colorful.
it was not a good song though. I did not like the song he was doing. I was just like, this is kind of weird, not catchy, and I don't really get it. But yeah, they tried to make him seem like as exciting as possible. Try like with all the costuming and the choreography. Like they really tried hard to make you like Jon Batiste, and it didn't work for me.
Probably because they knew he was going to win.
Maybe,
like,
yeah.
We need to make this as big and loud as possible, even though, well, I'll talk about the album.
It had the vibe of a replacement, like where somebody else was supposed to perform and then they didn't have it.
Yeah.
Like maybe they took the Foo Fighters spot
maybe
with him, and I was like, anyway. Yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah, I don't have this in the news, but congratulations to the Foo Fighters. Even though they are dealing with some tragic circumstances right now, they did take a handful of Grammys in the pre-show. So congratulations to them.
Yep. They were also Taylor was also the first name dropped for the in memoriam.
Also, Billie Eilish's shirt. He had him on it. So yeah, well celebrated, I think, which was good to see.
Unlike Tony Bennett.
Yeah. Yes. So Lady Gaga did a tribute of sorts, even though Tony Bennett's not dead. I just want to remind everybody he's still alive for now. Not looking so hot, but yeah, it was rough. Just Gaga going full lounge singer mode. When I was talking to Christy while we were watching it, I was like, oh, she's already ready for Vegas residency.
This is Vegas
Gaga,
residency.
Which is absolutely where she lands. Like, give her 5 more years. That has to be what she does, right? Like, she's built for it.
Yeah.
She's built for it. She has the career for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was Vegas residency audition.
Yes, that was her audition for the MGM Grand. Yeah, Anyways,
anything else talk about for the Grammys?
They did a Stephen Sondheim medley for the In Memoriam, because it ended, of course, with Stephen Sondheim.
It closed with, yes.
What else are we missing? Oh, yeah, you mentioned the bleeps during Justin Bieber's performance of Peaches. Indecipherable what they were bleeping. I'm not really sure why, but they did it profusely. Also, what a weird performance. Lil Nas X was there with a pretty solid performance, but not as exciting or surprising as what he's done before. So maybe that's why it was kind of forgettable.
He had his big face up there.
Yeah.
Also, her had a pretty good performance.
Yeah, I liked her. When Lenny Kravitz showed up, he did "Are You Gonna Go My Way." Fine, but very staple Grammys style. And
of old and new, old and new crossover.
Overall, I think just that BTS thing was so elaborate and so well staged and so fascinating that I think that was probably the best performance of the night.
Yep.
I really was like, wow. Again, I guess Chris Stapleton was there.
Yeah, he won. He
did something. It was
performed.
Had strings, and that's all I remember. But sure.
It was like, yeah, this is why we like Chris Stapleton. It was like, yeah,
reliable.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, Randy Carlisle also, in a similar way, very staple Grammy ballad performance. It was like, yeah, that was serviceable. So, yeah, how'd you land on it by the end of the night?
Overall, it was fine. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was okay.
I do like that even though you have a lot of live performances and speeches that they do end on time when they say they're going to end.
Yeah, unlike some shows.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like they managed the time pretty well. I feel like most of the performances were good enough where, the awards didn't bug me as much. But yeah, I do feel a little bad for Olivia.
And the performances going in and out of commercial breaks.
Yeah, that was a neat idea, but it felt like almost like these are not good enough to be on the stage vibe to them. They are all, by the way, people who had won awards in the pre-show. So I was like, okay, that's at least fun that they're like saying like these Grammy winners are now going to play for you.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I thought it was fine, but you're right. It was like not super exciting, not anything super thrilling or surprising besides Jon Batiste. And as surprises go, pretty boring one.
I think they go back to Vegas. I don't think they go to Crypto Arena.
You think they're staying in Vegas after this?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see. All right. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Speaking of performances and people not performing,
and the desert.
Looking at you, Kanye,
and
the desert. Coachella is next weekend. The big Golden Voice production, AEG production, is upon us yet again. Get your Coachella vibes ready.
Get ready.
And pick up the phones.
Yes, because we called it.
We called it. Kanye,
More or less.
Kanye West would not perform at Coachella. And as we also called it, Swedish House Mafia would probably be taking that because they were clearly billed as a desert performance, although not specifically said when.
Yeah. They were the unofficial headliner, let's be real. And now they're the official headliner. However, they're a co-headliner because it seems like the reason why they didn't want to give them the spot is it seems like Golden Voice does not have full confidence in the Swedish House Mafia.
Right. So they decided to make it a Coachella weekend.
Yeah.
By having The Weeknd replace Kanye West on that Sunday night.
Yeah, he's co-billed with Swedish House Mafia.
Yep. Both of them will perform closing on Sunday night, joining Harry Styles on Friday nights and Billie Eilish on Saturday nights as Coachella's 2022 headliners. Taking place next weekend and then the following weekend. So it's April 15th through 17th and then the 22nd through 24th.
Yeah.
Kanye West was announced as a headliner back in January, but pulled out officially on Monday. Post-Grammys, quote, "I'm so looking forward to the moment with Swedish House Mafia and The Weeknd finishing out Sunday night's slot this year," said Paul Tollett, president and CEO of Coachella promoter Golden Voice. Coachella has a special relationship with Abel,
The Weeknd,
and I'm so thankful to have this upcoming performance with these iconic artists all on the same stage.
So the way that he's phrasing it seems like there may be some source collabs happening, and then maybe they'll also do solo stuff. It'd be neat, I guess. I don't know if The Weeknd has a song with Swedish House Mafia. I don't think so.
Not yet.
Think that they were. The Weeknd happens in that no man's land of their career, I think, for the most part. But I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Any EDM experts, looking at you, Mark, want to call in and tell us if Swedish House Mafia has ever done a song with The Weeknd, please inform us.
Not yet. Not that I know of. That would have been a
maybe they will now.
I saw him. Like,
maybe this will
first album.
Maybe this will inspire them to hit the studio. Maybe. Anyway.
Anyways, yeah. So I'll be seeing them second weekend in the desert.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that later.
But before that,
we listened to a couple albums.
We listened to several albums. In fact, there's even one that I forgot to write on here because it's so forgettable I forgot. But yeah, let's start with you, though, because this is a good
Grammy segue.
Grammys. You listened to that album of the year.
I decided to listen to that album of the year.
Yes.
Determine what made it album of the year.
Tell me about Jon Batiste.
Jon Batiste, as mentioned, very jazz-heavy influence, very R&B influence, and that is exactly what this album is. We Are. It definitely felt like a jazz album. I didn't know which way it was going at any single time. It was fun. It was loud. It was bombastic. But at the same time, it's jazz. So jazz is not my style. I prefer Olivia Rodrigo Sour. It's more of the pop kind of, I feel more like easy listening to music. I can understand it better than We Are. But that being said, I think the risks taken in We Are is a lot, and I think they do pay off. There is a lot of crossover, a lot of different vibes going throughout this album.
You can see why he works in so many genres.
I can see why, yes. Yeah. Yes, this album does cross a lot of genres. Not my favorite, but then again, I'm not a part of the Grammy recording artist recording academy.
Yeah.
Are the RICA?
Yeah, the recording academy.
Yeah. But it's an album. If you want to listen to a Grammy-winning album, it's there.
It is there.
Not much more I can say about it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you know what you're getting into if you are interested in this.
Or if you never heard of Jon Batiste,
yeah,
and you're trying to get into it because it won the Grammy, it may be a bit too in your face, I think.
Okay. All right.
Same thing when her kept winning all those Grammys.
Yeah.
And people were like, I don't really get it, but
Where did
okay.
she come from kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though she's a really good artist. Same thing here. Jon Batiste is a really good artist. He's, as we mentioned, works in a lot of different mediums, a lot of different genres.
I was reading something, and I believe this was before the Grammys. I might be wrong. It might be something that post the performance, but somebody was basically writing about like the difference between like good performance and interesting performance.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe, or no, that was maybe in a book I was reading. Anyway, about music. But like, yeah, it was basically this concept, and I think that's where this is. It's not saying that these people aren't talented. They're incredibly talented and very great musicians and very good at what they do, and the Academy is right to award that. Mm-hmm. It's just that I feel like for popular music, I think, and for my like personal taste and perhaps your personal taste, it's just like there's got to be something a little bit more hooky there. Like, yeah, you can be the greatest piano player on earth, but does that mean that I want to listen to piano music? Maybe not. And so that's, I think, maybe what we're kind of talking about here is that, yeah, they're great musicians, but and interesting to watch when the Grammys come around every year. But like, am I going to seek that out when I'm in the mood for listening to music? Probably not. And that's kind of how I feel about both of those artists, about her and someone like Jon Batiste. It's like, yeah, I can appreciate them, but like, am I ever going to
be recognize the talent?
A fan? No. Yeah.
Yeah, you can recognize the talent, but then also recognize that personal preference and personal taste skew away from it.
Because that's the other thing, is beyond talent and musicianship, music is very subjective.
Yeah.
And it's why a lot of people have problems with awarding music, period, is because of all art, I think it's potentially the most objective. You grow up just like with a different rhythm in your heart, and like that like will determine the kind of thing you want to listen to. Yeah, it's very, very subjective. So who knows?
That's why
there's what they do.
And that's why there's the People's Choice Awards.
Yes.
And somehow. Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards.
Yeah,
where the kids are in charge. Anyways. You listened to a couple albums.
A couple of self-titled records.
Okay.
In a row here. First, I'll talk about the Linda Lindas, who put out their debut record. If that name sounds familiar, it's because they've kind of been all over the internet the last couple of years. They had a viral single last year that kind of put them on the map. They're a scrappy bunch of preteen to teenage girls. I believe their range is like 13 to 17. I think the oldest member is 17. All different like ethnicities, and yeah, they rock. They're kind of like a punk outfit, like a kind of a pop, not a pop punk in like that Avril Lavigne, Machine Gun Kelly kind of way, but in more of like a classic punk kind of way. And yeah, they're a lot of fun. So this is their debut album. It collects a lot of the singles they've kind of sprinkled out the last couple of years, and it sounds great. It's super well produced. Just really clean, and their songwriting ability is surprisingly great. Like they're really good for their age. Like, and yeah, that seems like faint praise, but I'm being like absolutely serious. I listen to this and I'm like, this is one of the better records of this sound I've heard in a long time. Like I get shades of Slater Kenny here. I get shades of some more modern punk bands like Potty Mouth, some more like indie punk outfits we've seen in the last few years. They're great. I really had a good time with this record. I think that if this concept of having like teen girls like do it in a punk band sounds appealing to you, you're already set to love this. So like absolutely check out the Linda Lindas. If you want something scaled about 10 years later, some indie punk adjacent rock that's being made by, let's say 25, 26-year-olds from, I'm not even sure where they're from. But yeah, Wet Leg also put out their debut this week. They've been doing the late night circle. They've done a couple of late night shows lately. They had their big single Chaise Long that went on to, I heard it on the radio once. Like it kind of, they're British. But yeah, they kind of blew up, and their debut record's finally out, and oof, it's good. I really, really enjoyed it. It's very like mid 2000s indie rock. Ooh. It's very much that kind of like guitar driven kind of thing. They have a few different spaces they're playing, and also they're just funny. Their lyrics are just very very clever. Chaise Long, I mean, was such a hit because it has like some really funny bits in it. They borrow a joke from Mean Girls about buttering a muffin, which is fun. They're just fun. I mean, these are two great like fun bands that are just very yeah. I don't know what more to say about them, but yeah, if you've been wondering about the buzz about either of these bands, check them out. The records are really good. Lastly, I have to talk about the one that I feel like I have to talk about because it's a relatively big deal, but still not happy about it. Father Jon Misty is back, and he put out his new record, Chloe and the New 20th Century, I believe is the name of it. It's fine. This is Father Jon Misty in like balladeer mode. Like it's very much like not necessarily jazzy, but very like horn-driven big band. Not even big band, but like kind of like loungy, I guess you could say, like a lounge singer mode. It's fine. I think there's moments where it reminds you of when he was good, but like it's also very full of itself, as most of his stuff is. There's a really long ass song about a female comedian that I think is literally called Funny Girl that just goes on too long. I don't know. If you like his bit, then you probably will enjoy this too. But I got old of his bit after 2015, and so I think that really affects how I think of him these days. So yeah, it's fine. But your next 20th century, my bad.
Yes.
So yeah, your tolerance of Father Jon Misty as an artist will judge how you feel about this record. And that's pretty much what I have to say about that. It's there. It exists.
So fans of Father Jon Misty may like it.
Yeah,
but your tolerance may vary.
But definitely a slower pace and definitely full of ballads. So if you really want a slow burn kind of thing, this might be what you're looking for. But if not, you might be a little disappointed by it.
Okay.
That's all I listen to.
Well, as I mentioned, I'll be listening to an eclectic range of musicians as I prepare for the desert that is Coachella.
I assume they'll be doing live streaming again.
Yes.
It's been a couple of years, so I had to think about if they do that or not.
Yep.
And yeah, so maybe I'll check out some performances. I know my girl Carly Rae Jepsen is going to be there
Friday,
and will likely play some new music, as she is. We didn't talk about it because it wasn't that big of a story, but she's teasing a new record called Western Wind this week. And so hopefully by the end of the month, maybe we'll see a release date for that.
So you mean that she'll play some singles, probably drop a single this weekend?
I would not be surprised if that before her performance you see a single.
Yep.
So get ready. Next week we might talk about some new Carly. Fingers crossed.
Yep.
All right.
So with that, let's get into some video games.
Yes, why not?
And we start with new releases. Just a couple.
Yeah.
This week.
Just a few.
Yep. 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim for the Switch.
That is the Switch version. It was on PlayStation platforms last year.
Nobody Saves the World for PS4, PS5, and the Switch.
Also a Xbox exclusive coming to PS4, PlayStation, and Switch this week.
And lastly, Road 96 for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. All right, so let's get into some video game news.
Yeah.
And we start with the not yet dead Halo Infinite.
No, believe it or not, even though fans will can try to convince you that they completely abandoned it, not quite abandoned yet.
Yep, because Microsoft and 343 Industries have confirmed that Halo Infinite Season 2 will launch next month on May 3rd.
You have a long-legged father down there. Sorry, a daddy long legs that's hanging out under your desk.
Yep.
Just wanted to let the audience know.
Yeah, he's eating all the cockroaches down there.
Don't rub it in.
Quote, experience fresh content, including new maps, modes, themed limited time events, and an all-new battle pass that never expires.
An infinite battle pass?
Yes. Xbox said on Friday. It also released the following trailer, see here, for Season 2, which is titled Lone Wolves. and was originally expected to launch in early 2022 before Season 1 was extended. A member of the Halo Infinite development team recently acknowledged that the game's community was, quote, out of patience at 343 Industries' perceived lack of activity and communication. The community director, Brian Jarrod, posted a reply to a Reddit user who said they wish the studio would acknowledge that there are issues impacting progress on new features for the game, such as the delayed Forge mode and campaign co-op. Jarrod said, quote, there are indeed a lot of challenges and constraints. We're certainly not happy to be unable to meet player and community expectations. It's a difficult situation that's going to take the team time to work through. End quote.
Yeah, this is disappointing because I think when Halo Infinite launched, you had a lot of really good, like a good feedback for the campaign and the multiplayer even. But the thing is when you market a game as a live service game, and if you market that there's going to be more on the way, fans will have super high expectations for the timeline for those things. And if you delay after delay, they're going to get angry at you. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I think fans should learn to be more patient with this kind of game. As right now, I can't imagine what it must be like to develop something as big and massive as a Halo game from probably a lot of remote situations. That being said, they marketed Halo Infinite to be this.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they haven't been able to pull the trigger on this means that perhaps they scaled too large. Like Halo,
you mean Infinite was too large for them?
That's the thing, is I think that Halo, they basically built the expectation on the fact that Halo has a history of being these huge experiences on launch. Like, keep in mind, when Halo 3 came out for the Xbox 360, you had day one co-op, Forge, full multiplayer suite, and campaign. This is what the legacy that they're trying to stand up. Obviously, yes, our development reality is completely different than they were in 2006. Absolutely. But this is what they sold you. And so it's very, very hard to find a excuse here, because it's like the fans are right to an extent. It's like, this is what you told us you were going to get. But also, should they sit down and enjoy the game that they have? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm a little torn on this, because you can't be out here and be like, we're committing to a live service experience and lay out dates and then just completely miss them over and over again.
There is a difference between something like No Man's Sky, which is a constant rollout from a small studio, compared to Halo Infinite, which is a AAA title.
Yeah, it's just you wonder how much, how if Microsoft could get more people at 343 to help, and why that's not happening, and why maybe they're not, or if it is, and maybe that's still not enough for something this ambitious. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's just sad, because they had the potential to be a legendary, no pun intended, game that a lot of people were enjoying throughout the year, and instead it became a blip on the radar that may have a chance of being a blip again, but we'll see. So yeah, we'll see.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. This is season 2. I think Fortnite is in chapter 3, season 4, something like that.
Yeah.
So if that's the mythical dragon that they're chasing, I don't think they're going to reach it. Especially if Halo stays on Microsoft and PC alone.
Yeah.
But there are people who will play it. But yeah, you got to please your core fan base if you're going to ever attract new fan base.
Yeah, and so fingers crossed that they figure it out and that it's fun and the community gets to play more Halo, because hey, Halo's good. I don't need to tell you that, but when I played of Halo Infinite, it's a good time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways.
We got a guest outside.
Yep. Wants to speak on the podcast.
Guess so.
All right. Moving on to our second story.
Yeah.
Down the street from us, Activision-Blizzard has officially announced that all of its US-based QA testers will become full-time employees and not contractors. The company also revealed that the employees would receive an hourly wage increase to a minimum of $20 per hour. A statement from Activision-Blizzard reads, quote, "Today, we announced the conversion of all U.S.-based temporary and contingent contractor QA team members at Activision Publishing and Blizzard, nearly 1,100 people in total, to permanent full-time employees starting on July 1st. An internal email from COO Joshua Taub reads, quote, "QA is and continues to be critical to our development success. We have amazing QA teams in place that work hard to ensure our players have the best possible gaming experiences. Thank you." End quote.
Yes. All right. So a couple caveats about this. Well, first of all, the setup for this was of course, it was a response to growing calls for unionization among QA testers in the Activision Blizzard umbrella. Most notably, Raven Software, which is a developer underneath Activision Blizzard, were able to unionize their QA workers in response to that unfair treatment. Which brings up the little caveat that you mentioned to me pre the podcast, which is because of that union, the Raven testers are not affected by this, because this only affects people that are under the direct management of Activision Blizzard.
Right. The direct contracted and temporary workers, non-unions.
So yeah, that's a little disappointing. But the good news is that Activision basically gave them, prior to unionization, what the unionization push was for, which was to make them full-time employees. Now, some will say, is $20 an hour enough? And I probably would say no. QA is hard, and it's really, really tough work, and it's time-consuming. So
it's also joy-sucking.
Yeah. You can burn out really quickly with it.
Yep.
So I would want to see that go up, but the fact that that's the minimum, at least you're starting at a pretty good wage. But yeah, obviously they deserve better. And I still think that this does not end the need for unionization. I feel still that even if this is true, I think there's value for further unions to be developed under there. So yeah, I mean, I believe that like at least $5 or $6 better than the current California minimum wage. But of course, they'll have workers throughout the U.S., not just here in California.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to vary. So yeah, I don't know. It's better. It's at least a response, and it's better than it was. There's still room for improvement, but hey, any movement is good. It just goes to show you that the labor movement that's happening right now in all sorts of different sectors is nothing but positive, and it's moving things forward, and it is working.
Right. Something not mentioned here, that because they do become full-time employees, it means they do get the benefits from Blizzard Activision,
often
including dental, health, medical, time off.
Often when you see workers trying to bargain for full-time work, it's because of benefits. Packages are absolutely what the company does not want to pay you, and you need them to survive here. So it's very important. So yeah, good for the testers, and I hope things get even better over there.
Yep, and hopefully things work out with Ravencroft Studios.
Raven Studios.
Ravencroft. Maybe Ravencroft's the bad guys in one of the video games.
That's funny.
Anyways, yeah, Raven Studios.
Yeah, Raven.
Anyways, video games.
Yeah.
Still playing Horizon stuff. I mean, it's still not purposely doing the main story, so I want to do everything else.
Yeah. Kirby,
still going at it.
Cooking on Kirby.
Still cooking on it. Still going through it. But there's a new show on the market.
New show in town, and I gave it a spin. Yes, it's that time of year again. MLB The Show 22 is now out on all platforms. If you have Game Pass, you can play it with your subscription on Xbox. On Xbox, not on PC. There's no PC version yet. Also, first on Switch this year. First time the series has ever been available on Switch. I've heard pretty good things about the Switch version. Not as good looking, but they've managed to at least get it operating in the 30 to 50 frames center. So not quite 60, but getting there. And yeah, it seems like it's good to have if you want a mobile version of this show experience. But other than that, not a whole lot to say about the show this year. If you played last year's game, the show 22 is more or less a polished version of what 21 was. What I mean by that is some graphical stuff is improved. I noticed some new lighting effects that I was pretty impressed by. I noticed some slight improvements with character animation, not as herky-jerky. I didn't see as many errors with bats going through bodies this time, which I think was a thing that happened a lot in 20 and 21. And some new features. New features are very few or far between. Not a whole lot new this year. For the zone batting, now you can anchor your zone bat to like start in the same place every at bat. So that way you don't have to immediately, like what you used to do, move it down
Constantly
to get that low hit.
Yeah.
Now you can
constantly starts in the middle.
You can anchor it now,
Nice.
which is a new feature. Stadium, the stadium creator mode that was introduced last year has now been improved. Now you can play night games in your built stadium, which is nice. You couldn't do that last year. And Shohei Ohtani gets a nice little video, starring role in the video at the beginning of the game, which is fun. It's very cute.
He is the cover athlete.
The bad news is that Road to the Show, it remains pretty identical from last year. So if you didn't like the changes they made between 20 and 21, and I did not, you will also be disappointed in 22 as they've kept the 21 design. So it means that there's not as many conversations with other players. Most of the stats are happening on the field. And they brought back the stupid podcast framing from last year, which I am not thrilled about, where some idiots are talking about you without ever saying your name. It's like, let's talk to Ken Griffey Jr. about this new prospect.
Hey, they did that in Madden too, where it's like, you get the draft day, and I like this guy's speed.
Yeah, exactly.
He's very powerful in between the tackles.
I don't know.
He's got such great arm strength without ever saying his actual name.
After watching all that shit last year, I am skipping it this year. I'm like, I know what this is doing.
Yeah.
One change, though, and this is the last thing I say, because the rest of it really, you know what the show is. If you are in it for Diamond Dynasty, which is what they think you're in it for, then I'm sure you'll have a blast with it. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that they did change, what I think is a good change to Road to the Show. Last year, they shoehorned in the two-way player thing and made you start as a two-way player.
Yeah.
No matter what. This year, you literally build your ball player first and say what you want to do. You come in as that role.
Okay.
You come in immediately to AA playing that role. So I immediately just chose I want to be a closing pitcher, and they started me as a closing pitcher.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna keep trucking on that. I still like the core game, and they haven't changed the actual core game since last year. Plays exactly the same. So so veteran players will enjoy that part of it. But yeah, I'm still waiting for them to really give it the next gen change, and this is still not it. So maybe by year 3, we'll see a huge new coat of paint, maybe some new modes, maybe some. I would love to see them play around more with Road to the Show. But otherwise, it's the show, and I still think the show is probably one of the stronger sports games on the market. And if you like baseball, it's practically the only sim in the market that looks as good as this. So
are you still waiting for it to become full gen and not like
yeah, I still feel like it's straddling a little bit of a line because we played those late PS4 ones, and they didn't look a whole lot different from this.
Oof.
This just runs at 60, and if that's important to you, absolutely, the next gen version is worth it. But I'm still waiting for that wow moment that I think we're still not there.
All right.
That's the show.
All right. Yep. I said still not playing anything new yet. I've actually got to put something in.
I put down Horizon and Kirby for now. Still didn't get Wonderlands because for some reason my GameFly copy of Kirby still hasn't gotten to the GameFly.
Weird.
I don't know why. This is the second time this has happened to me. I'm like, somebody jacking my games, but only the Switch ones for some reason. Right. I don't know. It's weird. But anyway.
Anyways. All right. Let's continue, and we move from MLB The Show to television.
Yes.
We'll start television with
the Sports Corner. Sorry, that was my intro. I totally whiffed it. You just took it and ran with it.
Oh, you just stood there at the plate and watch the pitch go right by.
Yeah. You caught me looking. So yes, as our chatter implies, opening day happened in baseball. Baseball is officially go. Houston currently leads all teams with 16 runs scored and 8 home runs.
Through
Unfortunately,
2 days.
against our Angels.
Through 2 games.
2 games. While Pittsburgh has yet to score their first run. 8 teams have yet to hit their first home run as well. So, yeah, not a great start for the home team, but there's only 2 games. Only 2 games. There's 160 more. We got this. So, yeah, we'll see how the rest of the season goes. But, yes, baseball is happening. Meanwhile, the biggest news in sports this week, of course, was the NCAA crowning a new champion. The South Carolina Gamecocks defeated the UConn Huskies 64-49 in the women's tournament. And, of course, North Carolina defeated Kansas 72-69. Nice. And
wait, hold on. I think that's backwards.
Wait, yeah, no, I think you're right. It's Kansas
the one.
North Carolina.
Yeah, I think I got that backwards.
Yeah, you got that backwards. Anyway,
yeah, Kansas won.
Yeah,
Kansas was the number 1 seed.
Yeah, don't worry. We didn't just burst your mind right there. You're right. We were wrong.
Well, no, because I think when I was looking it up, North Carolina was on the left and Kansas was on the right. Because Kansas was the home team.
No, Kansas had their shining moment.
Yes.
On Monday.
That one shining moment. And what a shining moment was because they came back from 15 points down.
Yeah, that seems to be a pretty close score for a basketball game. So not bad.
Yeah, no, this was one of the better, more classic NCAA tournament games.
Good to see. Meanwhile, in the world of golf, the Masters tournament is ongoing. It continues with Scottie Scheffler in the lead.
Yep, he's currently shooting -8 right now. They are currently playing.
Yes, looks like it.
Yep, as of live right now, Scottie Scheffler is still winning.
I don't think he's started yet.
No, he hasn't started yet.
A lot of the late guys don't start till 11.
Yeah, their round 3 hasn't started yet.
So there you go. So golf action in the Masters right now.
But yeah, he's -8. The next closest grouping, all tied for 2, at -3. So he's got 5 shots on him.
Not bad.
With 2 rounds left to play.
And then meanwhile, in the professional basketball sphere, the NBA regular season will end on Sunday with play-in starting on April 12th and playoffs start on April 16th.
Yep. Officially, the season will end tomorrow. Play-in is like they take the last scrounge of teams, make them do kind of like the NCAA tournament. They did this last year as well. I think they're going to keep doing this now, where like instead of just taking 1 through 8 and putting them in, they're taking 8 through 10 and 7 through 10.
Okay.
7, 8, 9, and 10, and making them be the last ones in. Because if you have a good record at like 9 and 10, and like you're trying to reach that bubble back into the end, you may be able to squeak in there.
Okay. Oh, neat. Neat that they're doing that.
Yeah. Like I said, they did it last year. Apparently, it was a success. So it's kind of like the new thing now.
All right.
But it also gives everyone who's already made the playoffs a week's rest.
That's nice. That's nice of them. Cool. Anything else in sports that we need to address today?
Because NHL runs in parallel with NBA season. NHL season not ending quite yet. That is the end of April, with playoffs beginning in May.
Then also, do you want to talk about the sports entertainment that happened last weekend with WrestleMania?
Did I talk about that already?
No.
Oh.
That was last weekend. So
yeah.
We did not talk about it.
We did not talk about that.
Yes.
So yeah, sports entertainment, WrestleMania happened, spectacle as it was.
I heard something about the Jackass guys.
Yeah, all the Jackass guys came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and promptly kicked Sami Zayn's ass. Forgot that was last weekend.
That was last weekend. Believe it or not, it's been a long ass week.
It has.
Let me tell you.
Well, because I think we were talking about like trying to get hyped for it
Yeah.
because it was happening that night.
I mean, I had the option to watch it.
Because Peacock.
Yeah, but I was dog sitting for my sister those nights. So I was like watching on my iPad. And I was like, do I really want to watch that, or do I just want to watch a bunch of old YouTube videos? So I watched YouTube videos instead. Couldn't get me to try out WrestleMania. But yeah. Anything else notable except for besides the Jackass people? I know that Steve Austin had his big comeback thing.
Steve Austin came back and gave him a hell yeah and drank his own beer.
His deal. I understand that Vince McMahon still can't take a Stone Cold Stunner.
Yep. That was also a thing where former NFL punter
yes,
Pat McAfee.
I heard about this as well.
Took on WWE up-and-coming wrestler Austin Theory in a wrestling match,
I don't understand wrestling anymore.
which transformed into Vince McMahon getting into the ring against against former NFL punter Pat McAfee. Sorry, current podcast host Pat McAfee.
Yeah, of course.
And beating him because he's Vince McMahon.
Yeah, because he has to.
He has to win. Only for Stone Cold Steve Austin to show up because he was there.
And they were messing with Texas. Guys!
And beat or like give Vince McMahon a stunner after, giving some beer claps to everybody.
Wrestling is so stupid.
It's a spectacle. It's supposed to be entertaining and dumb.
God, it's so stupid. But I'm glad people had fun.
Yes.
I also heard that some of the independent wrestling shows were good last week too.
Yep.
And good time to be a wrestling fan.
But that being said, WWE has run into a problem.
Uh-oh.
And that is when your undercard highlights of McAfee, of unwrestling McAfee, is better than your main event highlight of Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, which only lasted 10 minutes after like a 20-minute build-up of intros, and then 10-minute actual wrestling.
They did this thing for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
They didn't have time.
And the match only lasted for 10 minutes.
You
have a problem.
That is a problem.
I get that the point was for a belt reunification for Roman Reigns to be the sole winner of both Raw and SmackDown. But at the same time, I mean, it was expected for that to happen because you're not going to have Brock Lesnar show up constantly on Raw and SmackDown if he wins. And then he's just going to have to lose to someone in either of those back-to-back nights or same night.
But practicality should not be the thing that's running your entertainment thing.
No, but it's the wanting Roman Reigns to be the best. And yes, he is good at what he does. Does he need both belts? No.
Does anyone?
Does anyone? No. But he's continuously being head of the table of WWE.
There you go.
And it just comes to the question of, okay, eventually you have to end. It has to be ended. Who's it going to be? And I think that's got to be the storyline they're going to run with of who's going to be the one to take down Roman Reigns.
Well, we will find out. Well, I won't, but you might.
I will. Well, I will because next year it's here in Hollywood at SoFi Stadium. WrestleMania goes Hollywood. Planning on getting tickets and going. Well, but that is next year's
watch this space. 365 days from now.
Yep.
Watch this space.
Yep, that is next year Beast problems.
Yes. Meanwhile, let's move on. If that's it for sports.
Yes.
Yeah. Then let's move on into television news. Not a super busy week this week, but we got some stuff. Our first story is about some casting news. Maya Erskine. Wow, I was wrong on both counts. Who was from
the E silent there.
Yeah, from the Hulu show Pin 15, is now announced to be the co-lead with Donald Glover in the Mr. and Mrs. Smith reboot for Prime Video. We mentioned on this podcast a few weeks ago, or longer than that, I guess, last fall, that Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who was originally cast in that film, departed.
TV show.
Sorry, yes, television show. She is now also slated to appear in the upcoming Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi alongside Ewan McGregor, Joel Edgerton, Kumail Nanjiani, and O'Shea Jackson Jr. in an undisclosed role. She is also set to star in a road trip film with Michael Cera and Michael Angarano from Sky High and This Is Us, who is also writing and directing the project titled Sacramento.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, but will recognize his face, Michael Angarano, the kid from Sky High.
Okay.
All grown up now.
Wow. Good for him.
Yep. He's also had a recurring role in the past as for This Is Us as the brother.
Ooh, okay.
He's also in the new HBO Max show Minx.
Okay.
So he's been around. He's had bit parts, but yeah, taking his hand at directing here.
Well, good for him, and good for Maya making moves there.
Yeah, little known actress from Pen 15 in 3 big roles coming up here.
Oh, people are always looking for the new up and coming.
You were saying the new hotness, weren't you?
Yeah, I actually don't know anything about her, so I'm not going to make any statements that I can't take back. Let's move on to streaming deals. We have some streaming deals, wheeling and dealing happening in the streaming.
More like
realm here.
finalized deals here.
Yeah. Discovery finally completed its acquisition of Warner Media from AT&T on Friday. The close of the transaction bursts the new company, Warner Brothers Discovery, with that wonderful logo we saw last year.
No, they changed it now.
Okay. Which will begin trading on the NASDAQ Monday under the new ticker symbol WBD. AT&T aims to use the $43 billion proceeds from the sale to pay down net debt, which stood at $156.2 billion at the end of 2021.
They still have over $100 billion in debt from last year.
Yikes. Roku announced that it reached a multi-year extension of its distribution agreement with Amazon, providing for continued access to Prime Video and IMDb TV apps on their devices. In December, Roku reached a multi-year deal extension with Google to distribute both YouTube and YouTube TV, resolving a months-long public disagreement between the parties that caught the attention of some U.S. lawmakers. I'm just going to finish that sentence. Roku, I mean, they have an event, like it matters to them to have an experience where users can download and watch all of their different streaming things. So
they also have Roku TV where you can have it downloaded straight to the TV.
So if they take the risk of not playing nice with one of these, you take the risk of millions of Roku users not getting their content on their device, which sucks. So I'm glad to see them extending their agreements with these companies. And that's it for television news.
Yep. It's not mentioned here, but with the merger of Warner Brothers Discovery, there's been some shuffling going around with Warner Brothers Media, mainly the former CEO Ann Sarnoff, no longer being in that lead role. She will be departing. I think it was on Thursday, right before the deal ended, as her severance package.
Yeah, I believe we had talked about when we originally talked about the deal happening that largely the Discovery leadership is replacing the Warner leadership at the top of the company, which I don't think what a normal
was not what you would have expected.
People would expect, but it makes sense probably from the business perspective, as the Discovery stuff probably makes a whole lot more money than the Warner stuff does.
Yes, it does.
It just doesn't have the legacy.
But because HBO Max is under Warner's, and is the bigger content for streaming, Discovery is eventually going to be rolled into HBO Max.
Again, and we talked about this last time. I'm very happy for that because I would love to have all of the Food Network shows just in an easy one-stop shop without having to pay for them separately. It would be great. I appreciate that becoming
all the Iron Chefs.
Yes,
all the Iron Chefs.
All the Iron Chefs. So excited.
Anyways, that's the whole circle right there where Discovery merges into HBO Max. But the HBO people at Warner Media get kicked out from replaced with Discovery people.
This entertainment business is weird, is I think the answer to this. It's just weird. Just trust us. It's weird. Anyway, we watched the television.
Yeah, we watched actual television. Speaking of HBO Max. I did not know this happened.
Okay.
Until you put it down right here.
Yes.
Season 3 of Media Boat Favorite?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little disappointed by season 2, but yes, close enough. The J.G. Quintel animated show is back. This was the kind of spiritual successor to regular show, aged up a little bit, about the wacky adventures of a married couple and their young child and their roommates, and the combination of realistic scenarios with completely fantastical twists is basically the pitch.
Yes.
We really enjoyed Close Enough season 1. I believe it was my favorite show of the year that year. Season 2, a little disappointing. I think they went back to the technology well one too many times, and it kind of rubbed me a little the wrong way. Also, wasn't as wild, I think, as the first season kind of set the bar. I am happy to report that I have almost finished season 3. I think I've got 3 more, and it is back to top tier stuff. I am having such a good time with this season. It's so funny. They go back to trying to like make the premises as ridiculous as possible.
Yes.
All your favorite characters gets episodes. It's just great jokes, one after another. Credit goes to JG Quintel for just keeping making this thing great. Also credit where credit is due. Bill Oakley, who is a consultant on the show, you might know his name from working on some of the best seasons of The Simpsons back in the late 90s. He definitely his sense of humor shines through in a lot of these bits, and I'm just happy that it's good again, and I'm just happy that it's back. Having a great time with it. So yeah, close enough. Check it out if you've enjoyed the previous seasons. This is no brainer. If you haven't watched it, watch some of it. It's great. I'm really having a good time with it.
Yep, that is HBO Max.
Yes, HBO
exclusive.
Max.
Until it probably shows on TBS later.
Yeah, they'll probably do slightly censored versions on TBS later.
Yeah, I've been noticing a lot more HBO Max exclusives appearing on TBS, especially this year.
I don't blame them, honestly. They need programming. They got programming. Why not?
Like they did the Flight Attendant. They did the Harry Potter 20th anniversary. That's supposed to be exclusive.
Right.
But I guess not.
It's not. You watched a couple things.
Yeah. Speaking of, real quick, Flight Attendant Season 2. That's next week, I believe.
Next week. Okay.
It's either next week or end of the month, but that is definitely this month, April.
All right.
So I'll be watching that when it appears.
Cool.
So yeah, I've been watching a couple stuff on Netflix.
Yeah, is this second thing the thing that I think it is?
It's exactly the thing that you think it is.
Because we tried this as well. I don't think that's the name of it.
That is definitely the name of it, isn't it?
No, it's a Trivia Quest.
Is it Trivia Quest? I thought it was Trivia Daily.
No, I think it's Trivia Quest, not Trivia Crack, the app that it's based on.
You are right. It is Trivia Quest.
So yeah, we should talk about that first because I want to get your take on this.
I don't know who this is for.
Yeah.
Trivia Quest, based off of the game Trivia Crack, which we announced or talked about last month, that was coming to Netflix in a daily show of new trivia questions that you could log in, watch for 30 minutes and answer.
Yeah.
I don't know who this is for because you can do the same thing on trivia on your mobile device.
So
I think this is specifically built for watching something on Netflix mobilely that you can interact with.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
So we talked about briefly on this podcast about Netflix trying to get their feelers into the video game industry, trying to hire teams like this one to make interactive experiences for Netflix. This seems like that, but man, I was hoping there would be more to it. When we read about it, we were like really excited because to me, you tell me interactive trivia game, I think 1 versus 100 on the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And I get really excited because I'm like, that's such a good idea. They could do that and it would be amazing. But this is not that. This is not that at all because this is basically like you're saying, it's just an app. It's a trivia app, just like the Trivia Crack app on the phone, except they animated a cartoon to happen while it's happening. But I use an animated cartoon very lightly here because there's not a whole lot of animation even here. There's like an intro video that gets you, I guess, introduced to the characters, but doesn't really set up what's happening.
The plot of, everyone, like all my friends got locked up.
By this sentient sword, who I guess is the villain, but we're not going to tell you why.
Yeah, he just wants to lock them up, but we don't know why.
And so your performance on the game, like in the trivia, which by the way, even on hard mode, is some of the easiest trivia questions I've seen in a long time.
Oh, I haven't done hard mode, but I've yet to miss it through two.
If you think easy mode is easy, we tried hard mode thinking like it would be harder. Barely.
Okay.
So I don't know. These are softballs. Like they're so easy. Then like that earns you points, and then the points unlock your friends from the cages that they're trapped in. Does that affect the gameplay? No. Is there any sort of actual tangible gameplay award for any of that? No.
Is there any leaderboard? No.
Do you get an interesting animation? No, not even that. You get annoying voice-like lines from these characters. That's literally all you get.
If you fail, which I had to do on purpose, it was, we still locked up. Please try again.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like it seems like it's made for children, but you're right. There are better trivia apps on phones that do more interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
What they need this to be is they need it to be interactive. They need to be an interactive competition, is what it needs to be. This absolutely needs to be an online play situation where you're playing against other people to be interesting at all. because then there's stakes. Then there's a win-lose that's not just based on some sort of like cartoon character you don't care about. Like, this is half of an idea, is what it feels like.
Mhm.
They're halfway to something, and so it feels kind of like nothing.
I think the problem is that because it's streaming and it's watch at your own pace, the idea of having something, one, daily, you're halfway there, but two, getting people to log in at the exact same time to watch the exact
Yeah.
same thing.
That's way better.
You just created live TV again.
But that's better though, because again, it adds that stakes to it. It adds that reason. It's why freaking IQ is a huge deal.
Yes.
HQ?
HQ.
IQ. Yeah, HQ was a big deal because it happened at the same time and it was a experience everybody was having at once.
Mm-hmm.
This needs a hook, is I guess the problem. This doesn't have a hook. It needs a hook. But
cartoon characters are not the hook, though.
No, it's not.
The stakes are too low for it to be hooked.
Yeah, I guess they thought that was enough, and it's not.
Yep.
Anyways,
let's talk about something else on Netflix that I watched.
Yeah.
So, in the spirit of Love is Blind,
Yes,
where two people who never see each other, don't see each other face to face, get married or propose to each other and decide if they want to stay married or not.
Yeah.
Comes the next reality-esque show, drama-filled banter.
Sure.
The Ultimatum.
All right.
So, what is an ultimatum?
Or else, when you basically say somebody, you either do this or we're done.
Yes. It's either you propose or we get married or
we'll never see each other again.
Yeah, or we'll break up.
Yeah.
And that's what this show is.
Boy.
6 couples are invited onto the show who one of them has proposed the ultimatum and the other one is not going through with it.
Ooh, no.
They have hesitations about getting married.
Sure. Cold feet.
Yeah, more or less. So here, the 6 couples are brought in, and over the course of a week, they are free to date each other and mingle and see like, oh, okay, at the end of the week, is there someone else that you want to go home with? And like basically be in that full-on relationship during the next 3 weeks away from your original partner. Meanwhile, your original partner is still there in the same group setting, also flirting with other people in your vicinity. It's weird. My main problem with this show, compared to like Love is Blind or Sexless Island, is that these are single people who you don't need to know their backstory coming into this setting, and you're picking up the relationship from day one. With the ultimatum, you're expected to get the 2 years, 3 years relationship that they've built each other in a 2-minute package of why we are together, we're so lovey, everything was good, and then someone wanted, and I wanted the ultimatum because I'm ready for marriage, but my partner isn't, and if they don't, and the ultimatum is that if they don't want to get married, then I guess we shouldn't even be together.
Yeah, I get it, because it's kind of like, it's like the stakes are only as high as your context for these people.
Exactly.
And if you have to wait through the context, it still feels like it's not going to be very climactic. You're going to be like,
feels like homework.
All right, yeah. You're just like, I don't want to have to understand the why. I just want some fun junk food.
Right.
And you have to get to the fun junk food after all. But like, yeah, it's, like you said, the homework.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, just when you could watch something a little bit more instant gratification, like Love is Blind.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, like a lot of the namings, when they say like this person, original boyfriend, this person, original girlfriend, this person, like they're just names to me. I don't have the instant connection.
Right.
Oh, that's this person, this person,
like,
or this person, this person.
I don't know why that matters. We don't know why these people matter to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think outside of that being a big problem of you need to be invested in the characters to kind of be invested in the new relationships.
Yeah.
Is that these ultimatums are people who've been dating for a year and a half, 2 years to 3 years, Where's my 5-year relationship? Where's my 7-year relationship? We've been
Yeah.
dating for 10 years. We were engaged and we weren't engaged, and now I want to be engaged again. Where are those people at? Where's those ultimatums?
Yeah.
Where's the long-term investment of like, why have you been stringing me along for 8 years now and haven't put a ring on it? Like, are we ever going to get married? Are we even like wasting our time here?
Yeah.
Where are those people at? Not these, oh, we've been together for 2-3 years. I'm ready for marriage because I want to have marriage. I want to have kids. I want to have the house. I want to start popping out babies.
But at that point, of course, the other person's maybe not going to be on the same. If you've only been dating for 2 years, of course, that's too soon for a lot of people. So yeah, you're probably getting into the same situation every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't sound fun.
No, I mean, the drama's there. There's a lot of fighting and bickering because,
Sure.
of course, these are all like under 28 people, or like 28 and under. Like there's like 22, 23s in there. Like there's like a 23 and there's like, oh, hey, we've been dating for 3 years. Like, wait, so you've been dating this person since you were 20 or since you were able to drink, and you want to get married now?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the inverse of. It's literally the inverse of Love Is Blind, where these people put the relationship first before the career, whereas Love Is Blind, people put the career first before the relationship, and now they want to get married and have that relationship. This is the inverse of that.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's up to the bar that they've set so far with their other reality shows.
I mean, I get why it's here. It's because it is the inverse of that. It's let's take what we know here and do the complete opposite, but in the same kind of vein.
But not as fun.
For the exact same kind of people.
Yeah.
It's not as fun.
Yeah.
As you mentioned. It's not, but the drama is like super juicy and gossipy, and they're all fighting and all the time, and that part's good. That's the drama filled part. So if you want your drama drip, the ultimatum is right there for you.
All right. Drama drip.
Yep.
All right. Anything else on television that we should talk about before we move on? The same old here.
One last thing, real quick. There's a new cooking competition on TBS.
All right.
That they're hyping up heavily during the NCAA finals called Rat in the Kitchen.
Rat in the Kitchen?
Yes, and this is not Ratatouille.
Aw, man.
As much as I thought it was going to be. No, Rat in the Kitchen is a cooking competition where it's kind of like The Mole, where everyone's cooking, except there's one person out there to secretly sabotaging everybody and all the food.
Okay.
It's up to the other contestants to find out who is sabotaging amongst them.
That's neat.
In order to win the prize.
It's a neat concept.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's neat. But then again, you also get like serving food to judges that are either like super salty or might be underdone or overcooked. And it's like, oh, you're just purposely ruining that food.
Right.
But that's like a good dish.
And
but
it's not even their fault.
It's not even their fault.
Like I could see that kind of being painful.
Yeah, it's
It reminds me of Cutthroat Kitchen, except but less obvious.
Yeah, but at least with Cutthroat Kitchen, you know what
the
obstacle
judges
is.
Don't though, so it's kind of the same kind of tension where you're like, oh man, judges are going to think this person sucks, even though they don't.
Even though they had to use the waffle iron to cook everything.
Exactly. Okay, well, fun.
Well, this is Cutthroat Kitchen. Like you knew the other people who we were bargaining against and paying for the sabotages.
Right. And this is like, this is more secretive.
More secretive, more deceitful.
Could be fun though. Yeah, I like that idea.
But yeah. So that's TBS at like 10 o'clock. It's the cooking competition late night show.
Aha. Well, very cool. Well, with that, let's move on. And that's it for television shows. We can move on to some cancellations and renewals.
All right. What am I no longer watching?
Starting on FX, where they have said that the 6th season of Snowfall will be its final. Apple TV Plus is bringing back Severance after a pretty popular first season for a second.
So Severance just had its season finale last night. I'm probably going to catch up on it now, and then now that I can binge watch the whole thing. So I'll have my thoughts on it next week. All right. But hey, season 2 coming with sway.
Meanwhile, Netflix has said that the 3rd season of Lock and Key will be its last.
As I mentioned at the end of season 2,
there was not so much you could do
there.
Yeah. HBO is bringing back Winning Time for a 2nd season. I guess that there was more to tell on that story.
Yep.
Fox will be bringing back This Cleaning Lady for a 2nd season.
She cleans.
ABC does. ABC will be bringing back Judge Steve Harvey for a second season and Bachelor in Paradise for an 8th season. Shaws of Sunset has been canceled after 9 seasons on Bravo. Prime Video will be bringing back With Love for a 2nd season. And Disney Plus will be bringing back... Wait, what? Disney Plus will be taking over for Dancing with the Stars for the 31st and 32nd season. So does that mean it will no longer be on broadcast ABC?
Yes, Dancing with the Stars.
Wow.
It got renewed for 2 more seasons, but it's no longer on ABC.
Wow. That's
It's moved
amazing.
to Disney Plus for the next 2 seasons.
So 30 seasons on network television is it for Dancing with the Stars.
Not... So yeah, it's 30 seasons, not 30 years.
No, yeah, I know that. Obviously,
they do 2
it
seasons
twice
a year.
but still, that's still a long legacy of Dancing with the Stars being on there. So I'm kind of shocked by this.
I mean, consider that it's 30 seasons. Each season has about 10 different quote unquote celebrities.
Now they're just gonna have
stars.
Disney Plus people.
It's an easy way to do it.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor, guaranteed. No, yeah,
more JoJo Siwa.
Interesting move. JoJo has already been on Dancing
Yes.
with the Stars. Anyway, now get JoJo.
Yes.
Like of Get
regular
Out
JoJo.
Yes. Get her on there. I could be wrong. She might have already been on there too. I have no idea. All right, let's talk about some deaths. We have a handful of deaths this week. Estelle Harris, age 93. Actress, most famous for her role as George's mom on Seinfeld. Also, Toy Story, the voice of Mrs. Potato Head.
Mrs. Potato Head. Mrs. Potato Head. Mrs. Potato Head.
And a recurring role on The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. So yes, R.I.P. Estelle Harris. Also, Nehemiah Persoff, age 102. Actor, was in classic movies such as Some Like It Hot and Yentl, as well as animated An American Tail.
Yep.
Then also Ray Allen, age 95. You removed my notes.
Oh, sorry.
No. Actress was in And Miss Reardon Drinks a Little, A League of Their Own, and The Sopranos. Won a Tony back in 1971.
No, and then a news that dropped today, like hours ago.
Shit. Dwayne Haskins, age 24, Steelers quarterback, killed after being hit by a vehicle.
Yes. Practicing with other running backs and receivers in Florida. This happened, I think, last night, reported this morning.
Wow.
Quarterback drafted by the former Washington team.
Yes.
For 2 years. Newly on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and age 24.
Damn, that's brutal. That's tough to see such a young talent the career just ended that quickly. Yeah, that's really disappointing.
I think it was the Ohio State. I believe.
Looks like I played college football at Ohio State.
Yep.
Wow. All right. Wow, that's very depressing. That's sad.
Yes, I think he was a national champion too.
Okay.
And 2019 Rose Bowl MVP.
Wow. Yeah, finished 3rd in Heisman Trophy voting.
Yep.
Well, our heart goes out to the family and teammates of Haskins, because that's just brutal and that's unfortunate.
I saw that this morning, like right before we started recording.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on out of deaths and into the movies section, where we start always with the box office numbers. Your number 1 movie, of course, was Morbius, even though the critics hate it. $39 million debut, because of course it was.
Because of course it was.
In the Marvel extended universe, people are going to want to see it, even though not to the tune of a good Marvel movie.
No, but I'll talk about a good Marvel movie in a bit here.
We will. Moving on, number 2, The Lost City, with another $14 million. That's at $54 million domestic. The Batman keeps kicking with $11 million. That's at $349 domestic.
I'll hit 350 this weekend.
Uncharted at number 4, still hanging in there at $3.6 million. That's at $138. Number 5, rounding out top 5, still that anime film Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie, $1.9 million. That's at $29 million. But this is the week of big releases. Last Friday, because you had Everything Everywhere All at Once going wide, Ambulance, and Sonic the Hedgehog. This coming Friday, we'll see Father Stu and Fantastic Beasts, The Secret of Dumbledore, which will be the ultimate test of whether people still want to see Harry Potter universe movies. I don't think the answer is yes.
I don't think so either, especially since you had to,
Ugh.
one, recast your main villain away from Johnny Depp, and
Yeah.
two, you're having some problems with Ezra Miller in that film
Yeah,
now.
Ezra Miller.
And we'll talk about that a bit later here.
Everything about this movie seems like it's just bad press. There's just the timing is just a hurricane of bad press right now. So I feel bad for the people who have to promote this right now. They're not having fun.
You mean Jude Law?
Yeah, right. Jude Law, especially.
Fathers 2 is the boxer gangster turned priest in Boston, starring one Mark Wahlberg because it's based in Boston, and of course it is.
But yeah, look forward to your next week's number one movie. Is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Absolutely, not even a chance.
Yep.
All right, we move into movie news with our first story, a very, very happy story coming at us from Pixar. Media Boat favorite Turning Red. We enjoyed it quite a lot, and so did Pixar from a company level, because producer of Turning Red, Lindsay Collins, and director Domee Shi have been promoted into leadership roles at the company. Collins has been named VP of Development, where she will lead development for features and streaming opportunities for upcoming filmmakers to originate and shape story ideas into movies for production. She, meanwhile, has been named VP of Creative, joining Andrew Stanton, Peter Sohn, and Dan Scanlon in guiding the studio's filmmakers on their own productions as part of the famed Pixar Brain Trusts. She started as a Pixar intern and was hired to work on Inside Out, while Collins was a 25-year veteran at the studio, with producing credits on Wall-E and spearheaded the studio's Spark Shorts program. So good to see some female talent moving up in the ranks of the company, especially Domee Shi. I'm so happy to see her in creative roles, because there is one thing that Turning Red did better than a lot of Pixar movies do, and it's creativity. It's a very creative movie with a lot of risks, and I'm glad to see that being rewarded.
Yep. Turning Red was also the first female-led
and directed.
People point to What About Brave? That was co-directed.
Yes, stolen, you could say.
Yes.
But
yeah, congratulations. Good news to Lindsay Collins and Domee Shi, especially working their way up through inside of Pixar.
Great to see. Our second story is some bits for you, some collected bits over the course of the week. First up, a little follow-up from last week's Oscars story. The Academy has officially banned Will Smith for 10 years from the Oscars and all Academy events.
Even though he already withdrew from the Academy, they're still putting a ban on him for 10 years. Which means the next time we see him at an award show would be 2032.
And who knows what he'll be doing then.
Bad Boys 5.
Yes, probably. Meanwhile, it will follow up to that MGM Amazon deal finally finalizing. Yes.
You know why they did 10 years?
Why?
So in 10 years, they can bring back saying, celebrating his 10-year Oscar win, Will Smith.
Yeah, maybe.
That's exactly why they did that.
That would be funny. Anyway, after the aftermath of the Amazon and MGM deal, we now have 25 James Bond films now available on Prime Video starting April 15th. This is every James Bond film, excluding two: the original Casino Royale from 1967 and Never Say Never Again from 1983, neither of which were produced by usual Bond producer Eon Productions Limited. So because of licensing deals, they can't have those two. But it seems like most of the Bond movies you would want will be available on Prime Video.
The way they're framing it is that those two films are considered not canon.
They're outside of the... I already knew that about Casino Royale. It's one of the reasons why they remade it, quote unquote.
Yes.
Was because then they wanted an official version of that story. So yeah, not super surprising here, but good to know if you're a Bond head and
yes,
catch up.
This does mean that you only live twice. Yeah, the new Bond film will premiere on Amazon on April 15th.
Exciting. Moving on, two-time Oscar-winning director Asghar Farhadi has been found guilty on a charge of plagiarism pertaining to his latest film, A Hero, from a documentary his former student made during a filmmaking workshop back in 2014. Ouch.
That filmmaking workshop was hosted by Farhadi himself.
So he took an idea, maybe put it in a brain pocket, then used it later.
And then 5 years later, said, hey,
wait a minute.
I have this idea here that I can take and improve upon.
Yeah.
But without giving credit.
Yikes. So not great vibes
for
Farhadi here.
Farhadi is denying all accusations.
Yes.
That being said, he's been found guilty in a court of law.
Yeah.
I think it's in the Iranian court of law of plagiarism.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens with that.
And lastly, the other big story.
Lastly, yes, you hinted at this when we were talking about the Potter movie, but Ezra Miller's recent arrest for disorderly conduct and harassment has prompted Warner Brothers and DC executives to hold an emergency meeting about his future with the studio and with the upcoming Flash film set to release next year in which he will star.
So the Flash film was originally supposed to come out this year in November. We noted last month that it got pushed back to summer of next year due to quote-unquote extensive VFX shots. But
Yikes.
now that may be, dare I say, HBO Max exclusive film because they don't want to put that in theaters.
Not looking super great. No. It'll be interesting what they decide to do with Ezra here. I can't imagine they do more future projects with him. I think that, they have a lot of planning ahead of them to decide what happens to him. So we'll see.
This means that from the 2017 Justice League film, Ben Affleck, no longer Batman.
Right.
Henry Cavill, no longer Superman.
Ezra Miller. Question mark.
Ezra Miller, probably out.
Yeah.
Ray Fisher, the studio basically drove him out. And that just leaves Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot as the only two remaining people so far, because Gal Gadot has publicly said that the upcoming Wonder Woman 3 should be in production, would indeed be her last film as Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Leaving just Jason Momoa after 5 years.
Honestly, though, Jason Momoa, he has a good head on his shoulders. I would not be surprised if maybe he doesn't want to do this for the rest of his life.
If Aquaman 2 is the last one for him?
Might be. I feel that for him because I feel like he's getting so many other options here.
See,
so many other opportunities. Yeah, I mean, Dune's been big for him.
Yep.
But also, it's just like, he's so flexible. I don't know. I don't see him doing superheroes for a while. So does this put DC in another situation where they have to completely reset their universe again?
Within 10 years of Justice League?
This keeps happening to them. Why does this keep happening to them?
Anyways,
making movies is hard, turns out.
Yeah, not everything can be Marvel where you just get Robert Downey Jr. in a role for 12 years.
Yeah, until you kill him off. Spoiler. Anyway.
Spoiler. I don't know, just think like Robert Downey Jr.'s 10-year run from Iron Man from 2008 to 2018/19.
It's impressive. I'll give him that. That'll do it for movie bits and movie news.
Yep.
But you have one thing you want to talk about here.
One last film I saw on Netflix. This feels like a Sundance film. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Sundance South by Southwest film called Windfall. It's feels like what's supposed to be a short story, but got stretched out into a larger film.
Okay.
Starring only 4 people.
Oh, wow.
Lily Collins, Jason Segel, who you haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, been a hot second.
And Mr. Kirsten Dunst himself.
Oh, Jesse Plemons.
Yes, Jesse Plemons.
Fresh off of that Oscar nom.
Yes, fresh off his Oscar nom. And I think the director as well shows up in a gardening role. But yeah, only 4 people in this entire film. Okay. Jesse Plemons plays a CEO tech billionaire who's gone away to his desert home with his new wife, played by Lily Collins. And then while there, one very bearded Jason Segel kidnaps them, quote unquote, kidnaps them in their own home and demands payment, or basically holds them for ransom.
Thanks.
but it's a dark comedy because nothing in that goes right.
Aha, okay.
It's supposed to be a dark comedy.
Sure.
It's like you're negotiating. Like, well, there's a specific scene in the film where Jason Segel's like, "Give me $100,000 and I'll go away and start a new life." And Jesse Plemons goes, "Is that enough? I think you might want more. I think you might need like $200,000." And Lily Collins is like, "Well, $200,000 not enough. Give him like double it. Make it $4,000, $400,000." And Jason Segel's like, "Well, 400,000? I just want 100,000. What do you mean 400,000? Can we possibly round that up to even 500,000?" It's dark comedy like that.
It's silly, yeah.
It's silly. It's dumb. The acting's kind of so-so in this. There's hints there where like I can see why they wanted to do this because it's kind of a good script, especially with such a tight cast in a single location. But it also seems like it's a week-long project where they brought everyone in, shot it in a week, and then put it out for festivals because they needed to get something done.
I can see that.
It's kind of good. It has moments, but it's also dark comedy. So if you like dark comedies, check it out. Otherwise, this is a complete like I said, Sundance kind of South by Southwest thing where it's specifically made for festivals, but somehow it's wound up on Netflix.
Okay. All right. Well.
And if you haven't seen Jason Segel in anything in a while, maybe that's something worth checking out because he's pretty good in it.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Yeah, seems like a good solid like weekday night kind of movie to put on. Okay, cool. Great.
And I think that does it with us, unless you watched anything.
I think that does it. No movies this week. So next week, stay tuned. We will be back with another Media Boat podcast. I'm sure we will talk about more sports business, more I don't even know what's next week has to
I know what next week has.
All right. Yes, your football replacement program, aka the USFL.
Yes. The USFL officially starts I think it's next Saturday on the 16th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, next Saturday the 16th. We'll talk about that. New Jersey versus Birmingham on Peacock, Fox, and NBC.
I guess it's got to go somewhere.
Yep. With following matchups on that Sunday.
We'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, stay tuned to all sorts of our channels to see what we're up to. We'll be back next week at the same time, place. We're usually live on Saturday mornings. If you want to catch us, we are on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search Media Boat Podcast to find our channel. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications for when we go live. If you'd rather listen to us in audio form, we're there too. You can listen to our shows by searching Media Boat Podcast on any of your podcast services of choice, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Wherever you listen to us, we are there. You can also find us on social media. On Twitter, our handle is @MediaBoatCast. On Facebook, search Media Boat Podcast to find our page there. And last but definitely not least, if you want to ask us questions, give us comments, give us feedback about the show, anything you want to say to us, you can email us, mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week. Have a good week, everybody, and see you next time.
We'll be back with more news, more thoughts, and more of us next week. And hey, Coachella vibes next week.
Coachella vibes.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. That's a good question. Are we going to do show at all on Saturday?
Oh, no. Next week is fine.
Okay.
Bye, live stream. No,